Alright.
Hey, these things don't leak, do they?
Leak? Hell no. These things were made by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers.
Oh,
Alright, we're here for 80's Tear and a Track episode 2. Now, I know I said I was going to read all the questions and the answers, but episode 1's not up yet. So we're doing episode 2 before we even have episode 1 live. Hopefully people like it. And we'll read episode 3, we'll read the questions from the first two videos. I don't know how it's going to work. Whatever question, comments, everything like that. So we still do want to know the song combination for Nightmare on Elm Street. But this one we have something special. It's a movie that's near and dear to my heart. I've covered this movie a million times. 1984 classic. It is Dan O'Bannon's Return of the Living Dead. The long history about this movie, connections to Night of the Living Dead, John Russo connections, all sorts of things like this. I've covered this on the 22 Shots of Movies and Horror podcast. We did the whole franchise. I wish we didn't have to do part 4 and 5, but we did. And also I've covered this on my show with Jeremy. I've also talked about it in the Best of 1985 on the 22 Shots. So I talked about this movie to death. I absolutely adore this film. It is my second or third favorite horror film, favorite film of all time. So this is going to be less about me talking about Return of the Living Dead and me kind of just asking Brandon how he feels about it, being a huge 80s fan, and that kind of interests me in a lot of ways. But the movie is a stone cold classic. I think it actually plays on, a pre-existing movie, making both of them better, which Jeremy said at one point. I completely agree. The way that it plays on Night of the Living Dead brilliantly. It's a horror comedy. It's funny while you watch it, but if you were in the situation, you'd be acting exactly the same. You'd be absolutely horrified. So let's just hop into how Brandon feels about the Return of the Living Dead. So this was the first time view?
Yes.
Had you heard about this one before?
Of course I have. Yeah. I watched the second one before the first one, which is how you're supposed to watch movies, right?
Yeah,
watch them out of order.
There is a chance that I saw the second one before the first one too, I think. Well, my friend did. I showed my friend two, and then when I went to show him one, he was like, "How come the zombie's not flipping him off?" Because we were like 12. Yeah.
But I loved it. Honestly, from the movies we've been watching, this is probably my favorite one so far.
That's good.
I love how it's campy, but it's funny. It's all of it. I love it.
Do you like how it plays on the rules of a previous established movie?
Yes.
That fucks with you? Like, so when he hit the brain at first, were you just like, oh shit?
Yeah.
What the hell's going on, man? The brain! I hit the fucking brain!
Yeah.
Did you think it was going to work like Night of the Living Dead at first?
I kind of did. I thought it'd be one and done and be dead.
Yeah.
I really like how, I think this is the only horror movie I've ever seen so far, especially in the 80s, that's referenced an actual horror movie that exists in the real world.
Yeah,
that I've seen.
It takes a pre-existing movie and it plays into it makes it like a legend. It works into their legend, which is crazy because initially when George Romero and John Russo, they both worked on The Living Dead, made it. They split up. Russo got the rights to Living Dead, so he had a story, and he was developing this, and then it didn't really go as planned. Tobe Hooper was going to direct this, Texas Chainsaw Massacre director.
Oh, really?
And it went to Dan O'Bannon, and Dan O'Bannon wrote Alien.
Okay.
And he worked with Carpenter on Dark Star, John Carpenter, so he has this comedic flair. So Dan O'Bannon made it like this. Dan O'Bannon was a screenwriter. He did a bunch of great work with Dead and Buried and stuff, but he had never really directed anything, and he only ended up directing 2 films. Both are great. This one is better, but it's just very strange. Kind of a very short-lived directing career, but amazing work. Who's your favorite character in this film?
I would have to say, and you're going to ask me this, and I knew I was going to forget every single person. Yes. You already knew.
I knew it was Ernie.
You already knew. Yes. I mean, honestly, I loved all the characters.
Yeah.
Except the dude with the mohawk.
Not Suicide, but Scuzz.
Yes, Scuzz.
And it's funny.
He was whatever.
You know what's funny? I didn't tell you this while we were watching it, but the funny thing is, I have a disdain for Scuzz because years down the line, he's actually in the first first 3.
Oh, is he?
He's in part 2 and 3, very small roles, very tiny roles.
Okay.
But the thing about Scuzz was he actually worked with children at one point, and he got in trouble for like molesting a kid.
Oh, shit.
So like, I always like after I found that out, like I also realized he's the worst character in the movie, so it just like worked out good.
Okay, so
yeah, did you like pick up on this vibe?
Yeah,
maybe?
I did not like him, and now that makes total sense. That's shit. Okay, yeah, but no, the character's really fun though.
Yeah.
And I was really excited to see. I didn't know that Lena Quigley was in it.
Yeah,
I had no idea.
I kind of was confused.
I did not know.
You know who Linnea Quigley is, but
I
you don't know
do,
Return
but I
of the
don't know.
Dead.
Yes. Yeah,
That's like knowing Elvis
I know.
Presley, but not knowing
Not
the
me.
Heartbreak Hotel.
Don't come for me, please. I know.
No.
I know.
I know she's a huge icon. Like
She really
I said,
is.
Anybody that ever saw that Tombstone dance as a kid was changed from it, no matter what. I don't care. I don't care who
yeah.
you are. You were changed from the Tombstone dance. I swear to God.
Oh yeah.
So, as far as, did you like the mixture of like the punks and like the old guys? It was
Yes.
very strange.
That, and I also liked how there's also some like people I think look very like kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Like very like what's the word I'm looking for? Not punk or pop. Like not you know what I'm talking about? You don't know what I'm talking about. You don't know what I'm talking about. Oh, do I know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't. I don't have
Tina,
fashion
the look of
sense.
Tina. Like very
should
like
be preppy.
Preppy. That's the word I'm looking for.
How do
preppy.
I not know? I know what preppy is. I'm the guy in the sweatshirt.
but I like how there's the mix of everything. Very 80s.
Yes.
Like a whole mix of 80s from all different walks of life right there.
What's funny is Dan O'Bannon really didn't know shit about punk music. Like he was an older guy, but like for some reason it all works. And like
it works perfectly.
And even guys like John Russo, who worked on, like I said initially, the early projects of it, he's like, I'm not a big punk rock guy. He's an old guy. He's like, he's like, but it really works with this movie.
It does. It really
works
does.
perfect.
Yeah, I loved it. It was so much fun to watch all of it from start to finish.
And did you about have a heart attack? I didn't register. I knew the soundtrack by heart, and I know your Stacey Q's your favorite. When it was SSQ, and you're like, that's Stacey Q. I was like,
Yep.
what?
I was very excited.
I'm so dumb, I don't know shit. I didn't know SSQ was Stacey Q.
I had, so like before she was solo, she had a little band, and that was SSQ. Yeah, they have that song. I knew that song before I've ever seen this film, but I'm like, oh my god, I know that. So that was really cool.
What's your favorite quote in the movie?
Oh,
the movie's very quotable.
There's so many quotes in that movie. My favorite, come back to me on that.
You don't have a favorite?
I don't have a favorite one. There's too many.
So you like Ernie's your favorite?
Ernie.
And then Frank?
Frank.
It's got to be Frank.
Yeah.
I love the foreshadowing with Frank.
Oh yeah, this entire movie is so much foreshadowing.
For sure that, and the rigor mortis.
The rigor mortis, yeah. Yes.
Do you know that Frank actually, his in the script, he was supposed to like die?
Really?
And then become the zombie, like turn full, and then be running out like in the cold rain with the rest of the zombies, and he was just like, that. So James Cameron, the actor, was like, hey, how about I just like burn myself in the crematorium? That was his idea.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? I thought that scene was actually kind of sad.
It's very sad. Unfortunately, when we I got the new 4K from Screen Factory, I noticed that there's a lot of different soundtracks. I always like the version where they play Burn by Rory, what is it, Erickson? Rory Erickson, I think it is. They play Burn throughout the entire burning when he burns in the crematorium, and the generic, the tone, the generic sound, whichever one you put on there, the mono, the original, it's not on there. They didn't do it again. So I feel like I don't know why. I always thought that was the original. On my VHS, it was that way. So I don't fucking know. So maybe Screen Factory fucked up. It wouldn't be the first time, and it won't be the last time.
Yeah,
Maybe I'm just wrong. I doubt it. So is there anything you want to talk about? Anything special? The ending, I know, is all the zombie movies. They usually.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, what I really liked about this movie was that I'm like, I felt as the film progressed, I kept saying like, oh shit, that's kind of scary. Like just watching them like run and be able to like talk and just like there's no mercy.
No,
you can't escape them. Like once they see you, you're gone. That's it.
The thing about Dan O'Bannon is he's very funny and witty, but he's also very nihilistic. He's mean-spirited in the best kind of way, almost in like a fuck it kind of way,
Yes.
which is really fun. It's not exactly like as nasty as something like a 70s movie.
Sure.
Or downbeat, but it's very funny at the same time.
It's funny, yeah.
Almost like a Heathers kind of humor.
Oh,
even.
it's a very dark comedy.
Yeah, it's very dark comedy
very dark.
for sure.
Yeah,
Like it doesn't have a good outlook on humanity.
Does
in a lot of
not.
ways.
At the ending, really, I was like, oh, they're just gonna kill everyone. That's honestly fine. That's totally fine. I mean, what else do you do? I mean, because they're fucked anyway. So like,
almost everybody in this movie is so perfect. Like I said,
Yeah.
Linnea Quigley is not like. She's not like an actress where it's just like I'm gonna win Academy Awards, but
yes,
she's like,
but she's dedicated to her role.
she's like she's a scream queen, but
Yes,
she's like the
yes.
best campy scream queen of all time.
Absolutely.
Like she's
Love
like
it.
everybody loves Linnea Quigley.
Yes,
so.
of course. Yes.
But did you want to talk about the music, or you want to talk about the movie a little bit more? Like I said, I've talked about this movie to death. So
I bet
like,
you have. I
yeah.
bet you have. So let's just get to the song.
All right, I just wanted to hear your thoughts. Basically.
Sure, yeah,
So if you
I
have any
loved
more
it.
thoughts on the movie,
Yeah, no.
like any details, anything like that.
I just loved how it was like something because it had the classic elements I think of like an 80s horror movie. Like I absolutely love the soundtrack.
Yeah.
That's perfect. Of course I do.
Yeah.
But I really liked how it really like referenced like Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool. I've never seen a horror movie from the 80s do that. I don't know if I've seen any horror movie do that.
That's the funny thing is like I know it's not the same as Scream, but people are always like Scream, Scream,
Oh,
Scream, and I'm just like,
sure.
I know it is a reference point, but there's so many
is,
other
but it
things
isn't.
that
Yeah.
do that too.
Exactly.
And it's just I know it wasn't accurate.
Yeah.
It's just such a strange thing, but
yeah,
So,
absolutely.
What was the song you were thinking about?
So, in honor of SSQ being in this film, I'm choosing a Stacey Q song entitled "The River." It's off her second album from 1988, and it might be a little on the nose on some points, too direct, not too interpretive, but a lot of it also is. As I said in the first video we made, Stacey Q is my absolute favorite, so super excited to hear her music in this film, and so I figured what other way to honor her than using this song for this episode, and that's, yeah.
Okay, so my prediction is I noticed two things. I noticed the river, of course, like the river and the water and the rain.
Well,
Mostly
yes,
the rain for
yes.
sure coming down.
Very literal, yes.
But the one thing I also noticed was the burning in a church, which is similar because Frank burns himself in the mortuary, which has the chapel in it as well, right? So that's the only two things I registered.
That one actually, because we listened to the song before this, and I was like, I forgot that lyric was even there. I'm like, perfect.
Yeah.
So there's that. Also, I have always been trying to interpret the song outside of this movie, because if you listen to Stacey Q music, it's very pop heavy, dance pop music. So most of it's upbeat. This song is very different. It's very kind of more like rock oriented than pop music, and there's a very dark message behind it. And to me, I interpret the song to be kind of about like a toxic or abusive relationship in some way.
Yeah.
And it kind of reminded me of the relationship towards Tina and Freddie, in the sense of like he turned into a zombie, obviously, and he's trying to kill her. And like I thought the scene in the movie where she's hiding up in the attic or whatever, and he's being very manipulative, trying to get to her, and it's just like tormenting her. I think that was a very good reference to the song as well, because she's like, "Can't you lift me up and rescue me?" The Stacey Q song I'm referring to. And I know a lot also in the movie, there's a lot of people just like, everyone's just trying to survive. They're trying to escape. So there is very literal lines like in the song, it's like, "Take me out of the rain into like the shelter," or something like that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
exactly.
So like, very literal. You can look at it that way. But also, they are really just like trying to like escape the nightmare of the reality. So yeah, like I said, the song is very, with this choice, very literal, with the sense of the rain and escaping, but there is a bit more with it, with like, if you look at it through different character viewpoints.
It's difficult for me to even come up with music for this because the soundtrack is so embedded in my head. Because
Right.
you got what? The Cramps are in there. The Damned or the Cramps, I think both maybe be
Yeah,
in there.
that
And
makes
then
sense if they
Roy
were.
Erickson, and then you got SSQ, who I
Yeah.
knew SSQ, that song,
Yeah.
I didn't register that was Stacey
Yeah.
Q, which is dumb of me.
Yes.
And the voice is exactly the fucking same.
It's the same, but you right now. It's okay.
I mean, yeah.
It's okay.
And
That's
then,
not your thing.
then
That's
there's
okay.
I knew the soundtrack by heart though, and then there's the Grade 45.
Mm.
You know the Do You Wanna Party?
Yeah,
There's
yeah, yeah.
actually another version of that song. This is the zombie
Really?
version, and the real version is even darker than the zombie
Really?
version. Yeah, it's
I
supposed to
love
be pretty
that.
fucked up.
That's
if you
pretty
look it up.
cool, yeah.
But this has got to be one of the best soundtracks.
Oh,
of all
absolutely.
time,
I
any
mean,
horror film. ever
Honestly, I loved it from the second the film started.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is perfect. Yeah. I wanted to really choose. Like I felt like I just had to choose a 60 Q song.
made. Yeah.
Because there's a million I could choose from, and I always want to choose like a song. I'm like, oh, I can use the songs from the soundtrack. I'm like, well, you can't do that. That's cheating. But no, I'm like, because SSQ is in this film, like I had to choose something. I just felt like the river fit the best. I'm like, there's another song I was gonna pick by hers called "He Doesn't Understand" off her first album from 1986. That's a lot more pop oriented, and basically the premise of that song is like, no matter like, Stacey Q is trying to win over this guy or whatever.
Yeah.
But like no matter what she does, she can't get through to him, and it's like he doesn't understand. Like he can do all these things, but doesn't understand. And so I was gonna relate it to like the characters being like, well, he doesn't understand like how to kill the zombies. Oh, sorry, totally my ADD brain right
Okay.
there. Another line I really wanted to use, the river, was because there's a line that says dissolve you into air or whatever.
And the corpse must
And you know,
melted when
very
it hit
literally
the
they
air.
dissolve in
Yes.
the air, and they're trying to get rid of them. And so yeah, again, also very literal.
Well, they
but
dissolve into
but
the
they
air.
were
and
dissolved
then-
into air, yeah.
And
then-
when he says must have melted when it hit the air.
yes.
So there's a
So
bunch
yeah,
of that,
it was,
yeah.
yes. So thank you, Stacey Q, for helping.
That cold open is one of the best opens of ever.
Absolutely.
Because, like, you notice when the cameras, like when they're doing Frank and Freddy, like they keep zooming in and then cutting back
Yes,
and zooming
yes,
in. It's just
yes.
a story, and then like the whole open when he shows them the whole warehouse is
Yes.
just a brilliant moment. And just like it takes, I don't know, like 10 minutes before the titles
10 minutes
come
before it
up.
actually starts, yeah.
Yeah, it's
yeah. Yeah.
And then like later, when the smoke comes out again, it does the doom doom
Yeah.
at the chimney, and just the music cue alone before you even see the smoke, you're like, fuck.
Fuck. Yeah. Yeah.
It's really
Yeah.
smart and really playful
really
in a
is,
lot of
yeah.
ways. And it's silly, but it's also genius.
Right.
It's
I
great.
do have to say, I'm surprised Tina lasted to the end.
Yeah?
I thought she was fucked from the beginning.
They definitely do, like, that's kind of the only shots that are filmed like a typical horror movie.
Yes,
When she's
there's-
like walking up to the warehouse
Yes.
and it's a wide shot. It's very, very Carpenter, I would
Yes.
say.
Yes.
Right?
And the scene where like the paramedics are at the ambulance, I was like, oh my god, there's gonna be a jump scare. And like there kind of is, but there isn't. But like I was expecting him to come from behind and get them, but on the other side of the door. But yeah, those were the two shots I really remember that were very classic horror movie
yeah.
type.
What was your favorite gore gag, if you had one?
I would say honestly, there's two, honestly. So one, I think it was really cool, the one where like the cops come and they find the paramedics and like the blood's still coming out of his brain. It looked realistic.
Yeah.
And then also when they take the like rotting like zombie and like chain her down and like her like spine is moving and
You see the spinal fluid and shit.
spinal
yeah.
fluid, like I'm like, this is disgusting but awesome. Yeah.
There's a lot of nice touches like that in Day of the Dead where they just have tiny little details that are really gross
Yeah.
like that are really
Yeah.
like articulate and nasty.
Right.
So like that's the only time I think a zombie's been interviewed on why it eats.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. And I think it's also cool. There's an element in this movie that kind of plays on like the psychological aspect of thing. Like I think a lot of people might take comfort in the being dead because like you don't feel pain anymore per se. But then like, it hurts to be dead. Yeah.
Well, the movie definitely has a ridiculous flair because
It sure does,
it has
yeah.
an AC comic style zombies because let's face it, if you're in the ground, you wouldn't have your eyes, you wouldn't have your.
I was
pulse,
just about to say that. I'm like, it's
we
funny how they all have their
understand.
eyes.
Like there's certain points in the Romero world, you don't get buried, so like your brain comes to function. You can assume maybe it slows down the rotting process, and at the very least,
Sure.
he dies or something.
Yeah, something.
But like not much, but
Right.
still, like, as far as Return of the Living Dead, there's just no justification.
There's
But
not.
there's a skeleton with no muscle, and he has fucking straight eyeballs, but it's just fun. Like,
so vibrant too.
yeah, you just gotta, like, forgive that kind of stuff, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great movie. Like, I can't
Absolutely.
say enough.
It was a lot
things.
of fun.
It's like the punk rock anthem of horror movies.
Oh, absolutely.
It's, for sure. It's
It was
very
fantastic.
popular.
I
It's one of
loved
the
it.
most popular movies of horror films. They always have conventions. Like, the Pittsburgh Dead Convention will have, like, Day of the Dead and Return of the Dead stuff.
Oh, that's
and a
awesome.
bunch
I
of
have to
people
go to that. That's
There's
amazing.
a bunch of people there from that. So
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Clu Gulager, the guy who played Bert, just died, like, last year.
Really?
Maybe last year. He's pretty
Actually, I
old.
think I remember seeing that. Yeah, that's
Clu-
awful.
He's also in Nightmare on Elm Street from Part 2 from this
Oh,
year,
okay.
from '85.
Okay.
And then Clu's in a bunch of classic movies like The Last Picture Show and some B-horror
Okay.
movies like Uninvited, which are pretty funny. But no, Don Kaffa is also passed away. James Karen. So
Yeah.
Bert, Ernie, and Frank are all dead.
That sucks.
But they were older guys.
But
they
they
had
were
good
older,
careers.
yeah.
I mean,
That's
James
what
Cameron
happens,
was
yeah.
in Invaders from Mars,
Yeah.
Poltergeist. He's in Mulholland Drive
Yeah.
by David
Really?
Lynch. Yeah, I mean, they had long, good careers, and they're really
Yeah.
good at everything.
I do forget that these films are almost
Oh,
like
yeah.
40 years old, which is disgusting. I always think like, oh, these are 20 years old now.
Yeah, especially when you're watching like the high, like quality versions of them.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You're not watching on VHS.
No.
Yeah. So what do you think we should do next week? Anybody? Oh wait, I want to ask everybody, what song do you pair up with Return of the Living Dead from the '80s? What song is there? I imagine there'll be some metal songs.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, how
thing
could
is,
you not?
as soon as we stop filming, I'm gonna think of 15 more.
Metal
So,
or like punk songs?
Yes,
right?
yes, absolutely. Like, I'm more pop oriented, but there's
Yeah.
so much out there. Oh my god, there's so much out there. Yeah.
So I want to know what song you guys would pair up with Return of the Living Dead from the '80s, and any comments or questions for either of us are great. You can have the other person ask the question and make it awkward and weird. Whatever you guys want to do, it doesn't fucking matter. So what movie do you think? You pick this one. Since
So I think we talked about maybe doing Phenomenon.
Oh, you want that one?
I think I do. That or Halloween 2, since I work in a hospital. I think that'd be fun.
That would be cool. There's
That'd
a
be
couple
fun.
hospital horror movies.
Yeah, honestly, I'm like, I want to have a panic attack at work. Let's do it.
There's one called Hospital Massacre, aka X-Ray. It's not great.
All right, I don't care. We're watching that.
Come on, it's not good.
I don't. But because it's not good, it's gonna be great. You know,
No.
sometimes it's so bad it's good.
I'm gonna pair a song up with that. I don't even. I'll be like,
Hey, you'll be surprised.
I'm like, the movie is X-Ray, and I'm like, it's made in '82. Let's go. We'll watch it. I haven't watched it in years.
Listen.
I think it technically counts as a Valentine's Day horror movie too.
How romantic.
Yes, and I also remember the killer. All he does is scream, and it's very unpleasant.
Me too.
You guys are practically related. So, well, I'm trying to think of other hospital. Oh, there's Visiting Hours
Ooh.
with Michael Ironside, William Shatner, and Lee Grant. And Ironside's like this real big creep. You know Ironside. Have you seen him? He's in
Okay.
Total Recall.
Okay.
He's the main bad guy. The guy who chases
yeah.
Arnold down. No, but there's a lot. But if you Halloween 2 is the bigger one of the bunch. And
Okay,
the Halloween
yes.
movie just gets so
Yes.
we can do Halloween 2 if you want instead of, or we can do Hospital Massacre. You pick.
Let's do the big one first. And then
I mean, we can do it.
X-ray.
You pick it. Pick it.
Well,
It's Hospital Massacre, aka X-Ray. It's got 2 names.
it
That's how good
sounds so bad. I have to watch it.
It's not that bad. It's like.
Do you have it on DVD?
I have it on Blu-ray.
Oh.
Actually, it might be a 4K, which
Okay.
is really crazy.
Well,
I have
that sounds
Halloween
like-
2 on 4K and Phenomenon as well.
Well, we got the next 3 things set up.
Oh, jeez, that's a terrible one. I want to watch. That's my only one I love. Okay, so we'll do X-Ray. Fuck. Oh.
Listen, it's a
sure
challenge
is.
for me. It's a challenge.
X-Ray. Hospital Massacre, X-Ray. We're
Let's
done.
do it.
Done.
Let's do it.
Thank you for doing it.
Hey, thanks for having me again.
Yep.
All right.
In the dark of the night, something strange is going on.
Did you see that movie, Night of the Living Dead? Sure. They ship those bodies. Well, say hello.
The dead have risen from the grave,
Mister, there's 100 of those things out there.
How many did you say?
100?
and now the question is, how do we get them back into the ground?
Bert, Frank, we have
a little problem.
4 left. 10 right. That goddamn chemical! It's all over everything! Stupid asshole! Watch your tongue, boy, if you like this job! Like this job!
Brain.
Medical science is baffled.
And it's a puzzle. Because technically, you're not alive.
Why do you eat people?
Not people. Brains.
How do you kill something that's already dead?
Well, how do I know, Fred? I don't know. Let me think.
It's not a bad question, Bert.
In that movie, they destroyed the brain to kill him. Is that what they did?
The brains, right?
Brains! Brain! The brain! I hit the brain! Oh! Get it off! 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 Get it off!
The military is nervous.
How was your day?
Usual crap.
The police are confused.
Send more cops.
It worked in the movie! Well, it ain't working now. Brain the movie line?
It's not a bad question, Bert. It's not a bad question, Bert. It's not a bad question, Bert.
The return of the living dead.